Kia ora, everyone. So we're going to just sort of finish up this exercise. We're going to just tidy up the baking process, which is sort of outputting the geometry into Rhino from Grasshopper. And then we'll just make some changes and tweak our pavilion and make it your own. We'll get into having a closer look at just baking the geometry first, because it's a good idea to understand the differences. So let's turn that off as well. The last tutorial we left at this solid difference. So if I turn that on, and it's sort of combined those two boxes really. So if we bake, which sort of generates geometry that you can then use in Grasshopper, we can see what comes out. I'm just going to leave it the same, so we're just going to go OK. But and if we come into here and we'll just move that one out, we can sort of see what's going on. If we just change that to, let's do Arctic, it gives a sort of nice simple view, and we can see we've got the geometry, which is great, but there's some extra lines there just because of the way the subtraction works, so which isn't ideal. So what we can do is, if we just turn that preview off, and then there's this option here called merge faces. So I'm just running the result of that solid difference into this merge faces, and that sort of just combines everything a bit neater. So if we preview that, and then we bake that out, bake. Okay. So we can see that we don't have those extra lines. So let's just put that out there. In the model either. And then there's this other one, just that sort of tidies it all up really, called brep join. So let's just turn that off and turn that on, and it just tidies it up again. So if we bake that out, okay, move that this way this time. It just gives us a few more options later on, especially when we're cutting sections and things. So hopefully that gives it a little bit of clarity on just tidying things up at the end. So there's this merge faces and brep join. So what I'm going to do is just delete all those. And then the main part of this was going to just quickly make some adjustments. So the benefit of doing sort of parametric design has allowed us to quickly modify and change everything without having to go back and remodel and then sort of almost go back to square one sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play and see what happens. Let's make maybe, if we go into that view, so X is across and Y. So let's maybe make X a little bit thinner, so it sort of comes in quite narrow. And then I like this idea of these long wall returns. So where have I got that? Door return maybe. If I make, I want them longer than that. So let's just edit this. Let's make it 30,000. Oh, I didn't like that. Click in there, click on door return. Range, let's just make that one up. 30. Okay. And then make that longer. So now I've got quite a sort of different design. Let's just sort of get in a bit closer. I think I've gone a bit too tight. So let's just adjust that slightly. There, so now what's happening, we can see, hopefully, no, it's still not quite right, so let's change that a bit more. There, so it's sort of lining up with in there, so I can sort of adjust that a little bit closer. Ooh. That'll do for now. So I've got sort of a little bit of a different design. Maybe let's make it a bit higher as well, so the wall height. So, and let's bring those cuts down, so cut depth. Oh, we'll go that way because it's negative, that's right. Let's actually do that. Let's cut all the way, all the way down to the ground. That's quite cool. So it cuts into the base as well. So sometimes these accidents can happen that can really make a cool design. So it's good to be open to sort of these accidental design moves sometimes. I didn't plan on doing that, but I think that's quite a cool shift. All right, so I'm happy with how that's looking now. So I've sort of just modified it. And there's things that you could do, like, oh, what's happened there? You could add some more walls. You could put a seat in there. There's a whole lot of different opportunities to modify this. I'm just doing it quickly for the sake of the tutorial. So I'm going to bake that. Bake. Go OK. Remember to save. So I'm going to save Grasshopper. So file, save document. I'm just going to close that, and then we've got our piece here of using a different thing. So let's file, save as, here, midbox. I'll just do it 2 so I can come back to it and save. So now we want to display this design and show what it looks like on some pages, basically. And there's a number of ways of doing that in Grasshopper, but what I'm going to show you is some layout pages. So we're going to create some layouts. In the Mac, there's a thing at the top of the canvas, I guess, called layouts. On a PC, it's down at the bottom, and it's just a little plus next to the top front right, and then it'll have a little plus. And if you click on that, you'll come up with option to create a new layout. So we're going to do a layout with do 2 detail counts, and then we've got a landscape because we're doing the 16 by 9, and I've got this crazy number for you, which is 338.7 by that's not right, 90.5 millimeters. And that's 16 by 9 in millimeters. Because we're just going to a screen, this is the right sort of proportion, so it uses up the full monitor that you'll be presenting on. But if you're printing to a piece of paper, you could create some like A4 or A3 layouts as well. So at this stage, we're just going to do this 16 by 9, which is 338.7 millimeters by 190.5 millimeters, and that sort of fits into PowerPoint perfectly at 16 by 9. So we get a new sort of view, basically, which has these, I'm going to call them windows or portals into the model. And it can be a little bit confusing to start with, but once you get it, it allows us to view these in different ways. What we've got here is this window that allows us to get into the model. So we can actually pan around in this model, and we can even sort of add and draw things in this if we want. And that's the equivalent to going into the normal model space that we work in. But what this allows us, let's just come back out, it takes a little bit to get used to the different clicks. So here I've got this box that is this window that doesn't actually print, but it just gives us, so here I can modify this box to the window that we want. And what I'm going to do is just come back. Hopefully that's working. So we can click here and move these around. So I might want to put that over there, and I might want to put that over there. If you can't see the little arrows there, you need to turn your gumball on, which is on the Mac is up the top, on the PC it's down the bottom. So I can sort of put this where I want it. And what we can do, this allows us to scale this view. So I'm wanting to scale this to be a good resolution. So over here, we've got these different sort of scale options. So here, it's nearly 1 to 500, which is often used for printing on small things. So we actually maybe want that a bit bigger. So maybe 1 to 200. See how that goes. And that nearly fits. Let's just move this out. Starting to fit. Come back. So 1 to 200 is working for me, depending on how big your little pavilion is. If we, come on, shift. Undo. I'm going to rotate it in the plan in a minute. So we can come into, so you can see how I rotated the box, and that's that window into the view. I can also double click in here, click on that object, and you can see it's sort of looking into the other view. So I can now rotate that round, and that's rotated the whole object in the model space. So if I come out of that, you can see that it sort of aligns with what I'm trying to do. So I can click on this, click on that point there, bring that across, that one across, and bring these top ones down. So now, click on that, I can move that up and over. What I'm going to do is click on, move this down, hang on, come back, click on the outside box, and then move that down. And I'm just going to check that that scale is still right. So it's still 1 to 200, which is working for me. Depending on your scale, you might want 1 to 100. That sort of doesn't quite fit my page, but I want, so I'll just go back to 1 to 200. So you could even go 1 to 50 or 1 to 20. And then I'll lock that. So that means that if I zoom in that page into that view, it's not going to change. And then I'll go here. So this is 1 to, let's try 1 to 100 for this view. I think that might not be the view that we want. So if we click on there, click in there, we can go and sort of tweak that. So I'm going to come back. So there. Come on. You can see it gets a bit frustrating sometimes. So if I click over here, then I can pull it out. Pull that one out. And I'll click back up, set that to 1 to 200 as well. And you can see they don't quite line up at the moment. So what we can do is select this, go move, so emo for move, push enter, select a point in here, so I'm going to do the edge of that wall, and bring that out, and sort of do intersection, so it can line up. So I'm holding down, actually what I'm going to do, sometimes it doesn't work, I'm just going to draw a line, escape all that, line, draw a line from there, and move that over. So I'm going to select that box there, move, enter, select that point, hold down shift, and then I can move it to there. So now those two are in line. So I'm going to just come back and adjust this box, the outside, so that it lines up. Oh, I pushed the wrong button there, so move that out. And I'm going to delete this line. I just realized I could also set a tangent snap on as well. So you have these options to turn on what you snap to and not. So I could have done that rather than drawing the line. Now I want to sort of just adjust these. So I'm going to come into here, and that's locked, which is great. I'm going to set this to, let's go Arctic. And that gives us a nice clean view. And I come into here. Come back there, click again, and then set that to Arctic as well. So you can see we've got these sort of views of the project now, which is sort of quite exciting. What we want to do now is we want to create a new page. So I'm going to click the plus, and you can go through all of that, and maybe we want 3 detail views this time. It's up to you depending on what you're wanting to show. So I can push apply, or I can come down and there's a little button there that says oh no, where's it gone? If I click on that and then do it, right click, sorry, wrong place, right click, and then copy layout. So I can set one up and then sort of copy it across. So that allows me to figure out and change some views. We've got 2 pages that are the same. So what we want to do is adjust some of the views that we have. So I'm going to click into this viewport. Oh, here we go. I'm in there now. I can come up to page 1 and sort of right click, and then go to set view, and then I can go, let's do a left. And you can see that's much smaller, that view. So I'm going to come out of that, double click there, and then just move this over. Bring that over. So I'm going to bring it down here. And then what I'm going to do is just go there, type in CO for copy, and then select that and bring that over. So I can have another detail window now, maybe even a few more. And if I come into this one, click into that view, I can come down and set view, and I might do a perspective here, say, and then I can come out of that and make this a bit wider. So it takes a little bit of figuring out what views you want, but at this stage we'll just start and then we've got some things to work on. So I might go into there, come up here, right click, set view, and let's try and figure out, do left as well. So that's there, so I'm going to leave it as left. And then I'm just going to come up and quickly make a section. So if we go back to perspective, so click on there, we can make a section. So I'm going to make a section by using a command called clipping plane. So if I just type in clipping, and then it will come up, so clipping plane, select that, and they've got some options there. So I want to do a vertical one first. So I'm going to come in and we're just going to draw a plane here. I'm just sort of clicking. Is that right? Come on. Yeah. So now I've got this plane. You don't need to be too precious with this. So it creates this little box, and I want to just sort of click and move it. So I want to move it so it cuts through that piece there. So you can see it's sort of cutting this section. And then over here it tells you what direction it's going, so you can flip it, and then what views it's going to show up in. So what I can do is go to layout views. It gets a little bit confusing, so we have to check because I haven't named them. So it's probably this one, so page 1 and then the last detail. So if I select that, it should now show up. So if we go back to layouts, so that's the wrong one. So you can see it's sectioned at the top, so we have to come back and maybe if we click on there, so we'll try and get it in that one rather than the top view. If we go back to perspective, select that clipping plane, click on layout views, so we don't want that one, maybe it's this one. Let's try and go back. Yes, so that's now right. So you can see we've got a section through that doorway and the little cut down the bottom. So it gives us a little bit of insight. But we can see this clipping plane come through, which we don't want. So if we just come back to perspective, we can come and select that clipping plane, and then up here there's a hide, so we can hide that. So now go back to layouts. We've got the layouts that we want, so we can then come down, well, we just hit print really, so Command P. I'm just going to select, on a PC I'm just going to set PDF here and save as PDF. I mean, on the Mac, I'm going to hit PDF down the bottom and save as PDF. On a PC, you have an option to select Rhino PDF, and then you can go from there. You can select some options here. I would do, I'll just leave it for now, and we can see what comes out in these later on. So I'm just going to hit print. Actually, I'm going to select vector and then hit print. Not print, because that was the wrong thing. So I'm going to hit the command save as PDF. So in the box, so layout, or let's do med box underscore layout 1, and then save that. And that means we can open that up into PowerPoint and use that to present. The one last thing I'm going to do is do a view of the script. So I'm just going to open up Grasshopper again. I'm going to hit this sort of zoom all function. I'm going to also just make this a bit bigger. Do zoom all again. So we've got the view here. If I go file, oh, is it view? Oh, where have I done it? Where does it go? So file, export, high-res image. So I can click on that, and then there's some options here, image file. So let's call it med box script. No, yeah, it's script, something like that. No, let's script, and then save that. And you can change the background color if you want. I'm just going to leave, go OK. And there's some zoom options you can explore as well. So that'll run through and process that you can then place that into your presentation as well. And I'll do a quick tutorial of just putting all those